The Nintendo Switch, a well-known and very successful console made by Nintendo that released in 2017. We all know the Switch is a great console and has many great games for all types of gamers to enjoy on it. One of the most popular games on the Switch is Minecraft, but that's not the same version that we are going to be talking about today. Many people don't know this, but the Switch actually had a Legacy Console Edition version that released for it not long after the Switch released. I'm actually lucky enough to have picked up this version when it came out, so today we're going to be talking about it a bit and also comparing it to Bedrock Edition on the Switch. Please note that because I don't have a capture card, all the footage in this video was recorded using the Yuzu emulator for Switch, which sadly has since been discontinued. I have used my own legal dump for the emulator, so do not worry, there's no piracy in this video. Anyways, let's just get on with the video now. So you may be wondering first off, how is this version of Minecraft any different from Bedrock Edition? Both games are Minecraft, and Minecraft is Minecraft. Well, allow me to first list a couple differences between Legacy Console Edition and Bedrock Edition on the Switch. Legacy Console has no cross-platform play, unfortunately. Possibly better optimization for the Switch, more on that later. Tutorial worlds and a helpful tutorial to go along with them. Proper minigames that aren't on subpar quality servers, and a version of Steve called Athlete Steve, which is honestly a bit questionable. Also, since Legacy Console Edition on Switch was discontinued, it's stuck on the World of Color update, which is the update before Update Aquatic. So it's outdated. Why would I play this version instead of Bedrock? Honestly, other than Bedrock Switch having subpar performance compared to other consoles, I'm not sure. I personally only use it to play the old minigames since they're better than the minigames on any Bedrock Edition servers in my opinion. So Bedrock is better, right? I'm gonna leave that one up to you to decide. So say I want to buy this Legacy Console version today. How would I get it? Well, I'm pretty sure there's no way to legally obtain this game today unless you already owned it, since it never got a physical release and has been taken off the eShop because of Bedrock. So unfortunately, unless you have a modded Switch and are willing to pirate the game, it's basically unobtainable now. Also, just a quick disclaimer, I don't condone piracy. Please use your own legal copy if you can. You could also emulate the game if you're willing to install a Switch emulator on a PC, or I guess your phone, but unless you have your own copy like I do, you're likely still gonna have to pirate it. It's really unfortunate that the only way to get this game today is through illegal means, and it saddens me to see it have this fate. Since it was only available for a short time and it had no physical release, this might be one of the rare Switch games to get a legal copy of. So how did this game die? Why did it die? Why did they even make this version just for it to be replaced so quickly? I'm pretty sure it's obvious by this point in the video, but Switch Edition died because it was replaced by Bedrock Edition when Update Aquatic came out. Was it a worthy replacement? When Bedrock first came to Switch, I would have said yes, but seeing the state of the game today, I honestly don't know anymore. Not that Bedrock Edition is bad, but Bedrock on the Switch really needs some attention from Mojang to make it more optimized on Switch. Honestly, it's not good when my phone can run Minecraft better than my Switch can. As for why Legacy Edition was even released on Switch just to be replaced a year later, I have no idea. It seems like a weird decision to make, but I wasn't the one making it, so I don't know. So I've talked about the minigames on the Switch Edition a little bit, and we all know and love the minigames that came with the Legacy Console versions of Minecraft. But are they still alive on Switch? Unfortunately, during my testing of this, I was unable to find any public lobbies on Switch, which is honestly really unfortunate. I know that the Switch Edition never got all the minigame map DLCs, but honestly, I was a little shocked to see nobody at all playing on a public lobby. It's entirely possible for someone to make a public lobby at some point though, so if you have this version, you might still happen to find one. I could have just been unlucky with my search, but it's still a little saddening to think about, especially considering this is on a current gen console. So in this video, I talked a little bit about Legacy versus Bedrock and which is better, although I've talked mostly in features so far. So now let's touch on performance because honestly, that's what matters the most. For this, I will try to set all the settings on Bedrock as close to the Legacy version of the game as I can, since Legacy doesn't have any performance options. For example, I'll be setting the render distance to 12 chunks when docked and 7 chunks for handheld. For testing, I'll be doing a full-speed world flyover with an elytra, timing world generation times, as well as a classic TNT test. Unfortunately, since I don't have a capture card, you'll just be seeing some recreations of the events that I've made through the emulator I'm using for footage. From my testing, Legacy Edition generated a world in about 43 seconds, while Bedrock took 56 seconds to generate a world. One thing that I'll say about this though is that Legacy Edition has a limited world size of 3072 by 3072 blocks, while Bedrock worlds are more like 12 million by 12 million. That being said, Bedrock Edition doesn't generate the entire world though. Anyways, on to the next test. During elytra flight on Legacy Edition, chunks loaded fast enough that I could always see in front of me, with usually about 3 or more chunks in front of me being visible, which isn't a lot, but still pretty good. On Bedrock, I found myself constantly flying into unloaded chunks, not being able to see anything, and hitting invisible walls trying to prevent me from going too far out into unloaded chunks. To be fair, Bedrock Edition is on the latest version of Minecraft, while Legacy is not, but I have no idea how performance could drop so drastically from just a couple updates. Now for the good old TNT test. Starting with a small 3x3 square of TNT, Legacy Edition got a slight FPS drop down to probably about 15 to 20 FPS for less than a second. On Bedrock, there was surprisingly no noticeable FPS drop, but there was a small amount of lag right before the explosion. Overall, not bad. A 3x3x3 TNT block isn't that big though, so let's go bigger. This time we'll do a 9x9x9 square. Since I have to build this manually in Legacy Edition, that's as big as we'll go for now. During the 9x9x9 TNT test, Legacy Edition had a big FPS drop, down to roughly 5 FPS for about a second. Honestly, still bearable for the Switch, but it's kinda bad. Meanwhile, on Bedrock Edition, the 9x9x9 TNT took a few seconds to actually start exploding, which was weird. And once it did actually explode, it dropped the FPS down to about 4 to 5 FPS for about 10 seconds, which kinda sucks. Also, once the explosion was actually over and the kind of weird ghost cube disappeared, the FPS remained at about 10 FPS because of the items that were dropped from exploded blocks. Overall, not a very good look for Bedrock Edition on the Switch. So, is Legacy Edition or Bedrock Edition better? In terms of performance on Switch, I would say that Legacy is a clear winner, but in terms of which is overall better, as I said earlier in the video, I'm going to leave up to you. Now that brings us to the end of the video. If you're still here, I'd like to clarify that this video wasn't intended to downplay Bedrock Edition, but just to compare it to the Legacy Edition on Switch. Also, I'd like to thank everyone who watched my last video on the PlayStation Vita version of Minecraft, and everyone who has subscribed over the last while. It's truly insane that one video brought me from 60 to over 200 subscribers, and I also got over 20,000 views as of saying this. I promise I'll try to keep putting out high quality content on this channel, and I hope I successfully entertained you again with this video. With all that said, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.